friends. This is Gladys Ellen, and welcome to Heavenly Hugs, a podcast guided by angels. It is here I will share my personal angel stories and insight so that you too can be uplifted and blessed by these beautiful beings of light. Hi, friends and fellow Earth angels. It's Gladys, and welcome back to my podcast. Today, I want to talk to you about a concept that really impacted me when I read it in The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. It's something that was profound. It was at the end of the book. I know I talk about that book often. Read it if you haven't read it. When you're guided, you have to kind of be ready for it. But this is something that's helped me profoundly. And it's one of the takeaways that I haven't forgotten when I read the book. So the idea is becoming aware of the pendulum swing. So for most of my life, being a creative person, being an earth angel, caregiver, intuitive person of the world, I was living for a very long time with the idea of everything had to be all or nothing. I was doing things to the extreme and then maxing myself out and then not doing anything at all. And it wasn't even something that I was aware of until I read this book and it put it all in perspective. So I think it's really important, especially for earth angels in the world. We have these personality types. We're incredible creators and creative people, but yet on another end, we can be messy and disorganized. If we're not taking care of our emotions, we can ride the wave. So when I started my practice 11 years ago, one of the things that I would say often to people is 90% of anything is awareness, and the last 10% is the action, and that's where people get fouled up. So I think when we have an awareness to something, and then go to start making the changes to make it better, what happens is people get caught up in, oh my God, it's just the beginning and this is never going to change. And this is with losing weight, getting out of debt, eating, spirituality, anything like that. And again, somebody like me with the all or nothing attitude, it was like I would go, and learn everything I possibly could about exercise and exercise every single day to the extreme until I maxed myself out. So know that if this is a concept, as I continue to talk, and you become aware of your own habits, your own actions, the things that you've been doing, and you kind of have an aha moment, know that you're already 90% there and the last 10% is the action. So how I like to explain it, it's like being in the last mile of the marathon and you can't yet see the finish line, but you know you're getting close, but you're also tired and exhausted because you've been expending a lot of energy up until this point. So you are the one that has to get yourself across the finish line. Support. I think it's great to have people cheering marathon runners on or 5K runners on when they're on their way to the finish line, because a lot of times, when you're in that space, you forget how far you've come and you want to give up. It's so easy to just give up. And at that point, you have to kind of muster up all your knowledge and wisdom and your courage. People pray to the good Lord, ask them for that boost of energy, and then something shifts and they get themselves across the finish line. If they don't, they're back again the next year to complete it. They train. And so I think this happens a lot for people. It's like they get moving, they get going, they get excited, and then all of a sudden burnout happens because maybe they've expended so much energy up until that point where we give up, we quit, we go in another direction, we just stop and not do anything. And I want to kind of share this idea so that you can be aware of it when it's happening. So the idea is based on the laws of science. If you were to pick up a pendulum from its center point and pull it to the left 30 degrees, When you let that pendulum go, what's going to happen is it's going to swing 30 degrees to the right. And then it'll go to the left a certain degrees, and then it goes back to the right the same degree until eventually it settles in the middle. So they talk about or Michael talks about in The Untethered Soul, being aware of the pendulum swing and how I relate it to food. Let's say, so I have been working for a long time on sweets, and I love to eat sweets, but I could tell for a very long time it was an addictive tendency, an addictive habit. Like I needed to have something every night. And it would be a constant like energy drain. Like I'm not going to have it. Nope, I'm not going to do it. And then I would have the sweets, and then I would feel guilty about it. And then I would like starve myself the next day. So think about when you're eating and you overeat. Let's say Thanksgiving is coming up. And let's say thinking about Thanksgiving and everything is so delicious that you want to eat everything. You do that, and then what happens? The next day or even later that night, you feel awful and you don't eat anything. And then what happens is now your body's starving, so now you eat a ton of leftovers. And then what happens is now you don't feel good, so you starve yourself and don't eat anything until you're starving again. This is the nauseous part of being on the pendulum swing. It's the same thing with exercise. So for me, I used to love to run, and I wasn't really trained in running. I just got out there one day and ran a minute, walked a minute, ran a minute, walked a minute, and I kind of started that way. I wasn't really taught to pay attention and listen to my body. I wasn't taught that, with my body type, or anybody, I shouldn't have been running as much as I was, as long as I was, as fast as I was. But for me, I was using it as a way it was almost like running away from my quote unquote demons. It was a way to clear energy. It was a way to clear my head because I wasn't doing it through meditation, relaxation. I wasn't creating good boundaries for myself. So I went into this extreme place of running, and that's how I injured my back. I've talked about that quite a bit throughout these podcasts, and I'm still working through it. And it's been really hard this year not being able to do those things I love, but finding alternatives. And the key to all this is really bringing yourself back to yourself and being self-aware. Aware of, for example, when you're getting full and stopping at that point. Being aware of when your body is tired and stopping at that point. And being able to take like minor adjustments, make huge changes in the long run. And when we're self-aware, it's like we pull ourselves off of that extreme of the pendulum swing. So even think about spirituality. This has been an inner year for a lot of people. A lot of people have had to face their shadow stuff, have had to face their darkness, their like bad habits and the things that they were procrastinating on. A lot of people are being forced to take action in ways. And again, in this place of growth and transformation, it's been challenging. So what happens is in these spaces, it leads people to spirituality, and then they realize like how good they feel in that place of spirituality. And then they feel like they've got to meditate all day, every day. They've got to read every spiritual book they possibly know. They've got to meet and go to every card reader, every class, every training that they know. And what happens is eventually they burn themselves out because they're not giving it enough time to marinate. So this podcast was really to help you understand that everything in moderation will expand and grow. And I can tell you, I am super guilty of this. And it's something, since I read this book, so I probably read it, maybe a few months ago, right before the summer. And I have to tell you, since then, this is something that's always on my mind, but it's not a burden. So meaning that I'm paying attention when I'm eating, when I start to get full, and then I stop. If I want a sweet treat, I go and I enjoy the sweet treat, and I take my time with it and I let myself enjoy the sweet treat instead of guilting, shaming, beating myself up, putting pressure that I don't have the willpower. Same thing with my inner work. I've done a lot of deep inner work this year, and it's been in balance. I can feel like when I can feel when I'm starting to have enough and getting overwhelmed. And then you know what, friends? I will go and I will play Candy Crush on my phone for an hour, and I will just decompress. I will step away from whatever is consuming me. And what we don't realize is that when we're going to these extremes, we're giving to everybody. And then what happens is you get so exhausted, so energetically drained, resentment and anger start to fill your body. And then what happens? You don't want to do anything for anybody. Now, I know there are people out there who are going to be like, wow, that's why I feel that way. So being aware of how much you're giving, and how much you're receiving for yourself. So for me, I've set a really good schedule for myself. I believe I've talked about this in other podcasts, but that's my way to maintain the balance of the pendulum swing. So I have my certain days off now, and I will have those days off for rest and recovery. The work that I do is intense. I'm working with a lot of emotional upheaval for people, a lot of changes. There's so many dynamics in the work that I do that I can't possibly continue to give and give and give without balancing out myself. Now, I have to say, I was a person who struggled with eating disorders all my life, unhealthy relationships, physical, emotional, verbal abuse. And, I just couldn't understand. It came to the point this summer that, I said to myself, why do I keep attracting the same people over and over? The negativity, the drama, the complaining. Like, why am I attracting so much of this in my personal life? I had found a way to kind of balance it in my my work life, but my personal life, it seemed like it was everywhere. And I really had to stop and take a real hard look at myself, my thoughts, my actions, and what the heck I was doing with myself. And I have to say, it's not always pretty to look and see your shadow stuff and to take ownership. The ego rears its ugly head and wants to blame everybody else, but I had to take ownership for my own negativity. Now, I have to say, I wasn't negative towards the world or towards people. But what I realized is I was really hard on myself. I was judging myself for everything. I was judging what I put in my mouth. I was judging myself for not being able to exercise. I was judging myself for all the decisions I was making that were bad. And it was just constant. And I'm thinking, no wonder why I was tired, overweight, uncomfortable all the time. So when you're in these extremes, you are burning an incredible amount of energy. So think about this as caregivers. I say it's like until a caregiver, healer, earth angel, light worker is aware of this, they're constantly in bouts of like frustration and anger. So a big emotion with caregivers is frustration. It's like being fuming on the inside, but calm and cool on the outside. You see it with a lot of, let's say, teachers and nurses, therapists, social workers, anybody in that caregiver field. What happens is a lot of your power is taken. A nurse knows what the patient needs in a sense that nurse has spent a lot of time with the patient. And then you have maybe doctors that have maybe spent 2 minutes with a person, or maybe you have a healthcare system that says they've got to be in and out in this amount of time and they can only have this kind of medication. And, a lot of times, nurses and people working in the field, they have to kind of swallow their instincts and do what they're told. And it's become this really toxic environment. Same thing with social workers and people going into the house. And what happens is it shifts where the energy becomes codependent on each other. And then it fills with drama and pain and struggle. And then what happens is those caregivers go in their own lives, and now they're having drama and pain and like lack and frustration in their homes. So it's like I want to share this because the crazy train needs to stop. And I can tell you, I am maybe about 75% through this experience. I'm still making changes in my life. I'm spending a lot of quality time with myself. I have made meditation a priority. I do not do the same meditation every day. I do not meditate for an hour. There are different meditations that I like to use. And night before I go to bed, like I said, I'm still working through the strengthening my lower back. So maybe at night I'll listen to the binaural beats for back pain. I've really been diving into the divine feminine energy, and working with the different aspects of the divine feminine, which I'm loving right now. But I have to say, a month ago, I was doing something else. I was doing a lot of guided meditations in other areas. I was learning a lot about relationships. So being self-aware and being aware of this pendulum swing, it's given me an opportunity to be in flow. And it's amazing how the universe has been showing up for me and shifting that vibration to myself, and what my needs are, and being able to express it to the universe, to the people around me, to my business. Being able to express that has helped me become a magnet for those clients, those opportunities, those experiences, those relationships that I really truly want. And when they do come into my life, I just sit with it and I'm like, God, bring me more of this in my life, or something even better. So there are so many things that we could be doing to enhance ourselves, bring more joy and happiness into our lives. But remember, everything has its max. Like I said, exercise is great till it's extreme. Food is wonderful until we start using food to escape and fill a void in other areas of our lives, and this is connected to emotions and all different kinds of things. So, it's taken me this entire year to take a good hard look at myself. And remember, I've been doing this work for 11 years. I've been getting to know God. I've been getting to know the angels. I've been getting to know the laws of the universe. And I say so often, even though I've been doing this 11 years, I'm just scratching the surface. And just when I have an aha moment, guess what? Something else comes up. There's something else to shift and learn and grow. And that's one of the reasons why I started my podcast. Before I started the podcast, I remember thinking like, gosh, I have so much to say. and I'm hoping people want to listen to what I have to say, because it really is based on my own experiences, what I'm learning in the work that I do. I've truly stepped into my power as an intuitive, a beacon of light, a divine channel, a spiritual teacher, a peer mentor. And I'll tell you, the universe just kind of keeps giving me these nuggets to share. And I feel like this is an area where there can be a lot of shame and blame on the self, a lot of judgment and pressure. There's so often with caregivers, this energy of I can't do enough, say enough, be enough, have enough. And everybody wants something, and it really takes you taking a hard look at yourself and why you're doing these things. So I have this unwritten rule for myself that 80% of the work that I do is paid, 20% is volunteer, donations, things like that with my business, let's say. Now, I'm not calculating, obviously, throughout the year, but I am aware of how many things I'm saying yes to, how many things I'm giving gift certificates to, how much I'm expending my energy, and how I'm doing it. And being able to say, I've reached my max this week, or I'm unable to do this, but I can do this. And when I'm asked to do things, I really really kind of take a step back and ask myself, do I feel like I'm able to give from the overflow? And if not, if I'm feeling tired, depleted in my energy and my resources, my money, my time, I say, not right now. Maybe check in with me in a month, or maybe check in with me in a couple weeks, or, you know what, I can't do that right now, but I might give another option that might not expend so much energy. And it's something that I've always been conscious of, even trades. A lot of times when you're in this holistic healer field, practitioner field, people who are in, industries of service, the idea of trades come up. Yep, I'll do a reading on you if you will give me a massage. And I can tell you, I think that's one of the perks of being in a service-oriented field, that I can trade my service for a wonderful massage or a facial. Those are one of the things that I absolutely love to do. But guess what? I can't do that all the time. I'd be great to get services, but I won't be making an income. And in order for me to be able to do this work, I have to support myself. It is the way the world works right now. So, you really got to find boundaries. And so what happens is when that pendulum is swinging, it's giving you a chance to feel what it feels like to be uncomfortable. And then when you get to that point and you can recognize that being uncomfortable, guess what? Then you stop. And then when, like, for example, as I started with Thanksgiving and overeating, what happens is when you overeat, guess what? Then the pendulum swing the other way is I'm not going to eat at all. And then when it's like, okay, I'm going to exercise so much. And the opposite end of the pendulum swing is getting injured and not being able to exercise at all. Same thing with spending money, my friends. It's the same concept. I love to go shopping. I abused money in my 20s, and I am now 39. I'll be 40 next year, and I feel like at this point I have a good relationship with money. I respect money. It's a friend of mine. I treat it well. It treats me well. But I have to say, one of the things was I would go shopping, and then all of a sudden, I racked up all this debt and I had all these issues and my credit score was a mess. And for a very long time, I didn't go shopping at all. So here was the extreme of the other end of the pendulum swing. And then the desire to want to go out and treat myself. So now it's like, I know shopping really well. I know when to go. I know when the sales are going to be. I take my time and make sure whatever I'm getting, I really enjoy. This year, just recently, one of the times I love to go to the Rentham premium outlets around Columbus Day. They usually have really great sales then. And I made a commitment to myself. My closets were becoming a little full. I did need some updated clothes, sweaters and stuff that have just kind of like, sweaters just kind of wear over time. And so I made a commitment to myself. I was going to clean out my closets and my bins and get rid of clothes before I went to shop and buy more clothes. And so I cleared out 3 big garbage bags of clothes, jeans and pants and sweaters and shirts and all types of stuff, boots, things that I wouldn't wear anymore. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to donate it because it's a lot of really good stuff. It's just stuff that, I personally just won't wear anymore. I've outgrown it, or it's too big. And so that was my commitment. And then when I went shopping, I had a max for how much I wanted to spend. I did the rounds and I decided what it is that I wanted. And I left there so happy with my purchases. I've been wearing the outfits for the last, couple weeks or so, and I just feel really good. And it reminded me of like, you know what? I didn't overdo it. I'll tell you, friends, I saw this gorgeous red leather jacket at White House Black Market. It's one of my favorite places to shop. And the old me, so what happens is I put it on, and I'm petite, so the sleeves were too long. And I looked at it, I said, you know what? I'm not 100% in love with it. I'm not going to get it, even though this red leather jacket was gorgeous. And so what happened was I put it back on the shelf, and it didn't fit me. The sleeves were too long. The old me would have just gotten it. But this new, again, the pendulum swing. I had just went to another store. I bought some tops and some bottoms and some tights and all this stuff. And so, I was reaching my max, my limit that I had put on for myself, my boundary. And I saw this red leather jacket, and it would have been easy to kind of blow it away. But I looked and I was like, you know what? It's not completely right. I'm not going to buy it and then be uncomfortable with it just because I wanted it. So there was the pendulum swing. I started to see where the pendulum started to swing and I started to get uncomfortable. And then I brought it right back the other way. And after I made my purchases at that store, I left and I was happy. And again, I'm in good space with it. So I encourage you, after you listen to this, to just become aware of what's going on in your life and how you're eating, how you're spending money, how you're exercising, how you're diving into spirituality. Are you overdoing it? What will happen is you'll probably see it in other people's lives. You'll probably see how they're overdoing it. And again, everything is a mirror, right? Taking that reflection back on yourself. Now, you can't fix, save, change, and make better other people, but what you can do is you can make adjustments in your own lives. And what happens is, in that adjustment in your own life, it will radiate out and it'll shift the energy around you. So let me just check my notes here and see if there's anything else I wanted to say. Okay, so one of the things is I like to share is you don't know till you know, and then when you know, you do better. So maybe you've had some aha moments throughout this podcast. Maybe you're have some realizations. Now, this doesn't mean you have to make all changes all at once. I've done it very slowly, and I have to say, excuse me, I have to say, eating the sweets at night has just kind of dissipated on its own. Yeah, sure. One of the things that I love to do is have some Haagen-Dazs vanilla bean ice cream at night. But guess what? I'm having a few spoonfuls. I'm enjoying every second of it, and then I put it away. The craving and the desire and the judgment and the beating myself up and the filling the void is no longer there. And I'm naturally losing weight. There's no need for me to, let's say, diet because I'm making better choices throughout the day. I'm more aware of what I'm eating, and I'm stocking my fridge with things that I know I'm going to eat, that, my body feels good having. I make enough food for what I'm going to eat for, that I know what's going to fill me up, right before I'm full. And I finish at that point, and then I get busy doing other things. Like I said, I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, researching a lot of relationship stuff, the divine feminine stuff. This is the place that I'm in right now. And sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to check out. All my work is done. I'm going to play Candy Crush on my phone for a little bit. So that's just a way for me to kind of decompress. So again, friends, you don't know till you know, and then when you know, you do better. So a couple of the angels that I wanted to suggest was Archangel Raphael. Raphael helps with health. He's the angel of healing, and he helps with addictions. So you can be addicted to anything. I was addicted to shopping. I was addicted to food. I was addicted to exercise. Again, I was the all or nothing girl. And, now I just kind of find a happy medium. And unfortunately, I don't always know until I overdo it. And then I'm like, all right, I'm self-aware. Next time I won't go to the extreme like that. And so you can invite Archangel Raphael into your life and to help you with addictive tendencies, to help you with your health and your healing in all aspects. He's really great for relationship conflict too. So you can invite him in your life. Maybe you've got extremes and you're on this yo-yo with a lover or your children or your parents, and there's these highs and lows. Invite Archangel Raphael in to help you assist. Also, too, another great angel is the Archangel Uriel. He is the angel of forgiveness. His color is this golden yellow color, and he is the angel of awareness, and he's the angel that helps you to assist you to live in the moment. And he's also the angel that helps with forgiveness, forgiving yourself. Yep, I messed up. Yep, I made a mistake. Yep, I overdid it. I'm aware of it now, and I'm going to do better and be able to release the judgment and the pressure you're putting on yourself. You are a beautiful human being on this planet, learning just like everyone else is. And the beautiful thing about caregivers is once we learn and we get better at it, then we teach it. So there's your golden nugget, that you're going through these experiences because God's getting ready to send you people into your life that you can comfort, that you can support, that you can teach and inspire on your own journey. There's so many people waking up to their intuition and jumping into like holistic fields and coaching and intuitive work. Well, there's a reason for that. There's just so many other people out there who need that guidance. So see yourself as like a pioneer. And, this is another step on your journey to become self-aware and understand that you're on a journey. And in a way, you're learning this stuff so that you can help others. So I am going to wrap up the podcast for today. As always, I offer Skype sessions, phone sessions, in-office sessions. They've been really powerful lately. I can't thank you enough for listening. My most joy is connecting with people, and now my reach is expanding into other states. I'm doing a lot more phone sessions and Skype sessions or FaceTime sessions with people, and I can tell you from my experience, there are so many wonderful people in the world going through what you're going through, having the experiences you're having. So know that if you're listening to this, that you're not alone. Connect, open up, ask God to bring the people, places, things, and ideas in your life that will help you on your journey. And I can tell you, God does deliver. All you have to do is open your heart to receive. So again, I thank you for listening, friends, and I send you love with heavenly hugs. Bye for now.
You've been listening to Heavenly Hugs with Gladys Ellen. Gladys invites you to join her on Facebook and Instagram, where she continues to teach and inspire. If this podcast was helpful and you would like to experience more, Gladys offers private sessions at her office, as well as over the phone and via Skype. Connect with loved ones in the afterlife. Explore past lives with past life regression therapy. Or receive clarity about your life purpose, love, relationships, prosperity, and more with spiritual intuitive sessions. Book your appointment online anytime at GladysEllen.com.